need to be a positional leader for you to effect change in your community. You don't need to be a politician. You don't need to be in office before you can actually make a difference in your community, in your little space. So you can start where you have and start from where you are. That's what stood out for me. Now I want to hear from you. What stood out for you from the previous sessions? I'm in the chat. I want to read you. I'm in the chat and I want to read you. Yeah, I can't see. Oh, yes. Oh, all right. Let me know. Tell me what has stood out for you so far. Dream big, start small. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. We should be independent, not dependent. That's beautiful. You must not lead many people to be a leader. Absolutely. You must, yeah. So you don't need to have an office or position to be a leader. That's true. I learned to be a solution provider, not a problem identified. Awesome. We as African youth should be solution providers and not part of the problem to be solved. That is really profound. The others are complaining of okay, you see, entrepreneurship is not a trend. We, the youth, should engage in politics, excellence, courage, and finding a way to stand up for yourself. Beautiful. That shows that a lot of us are following. A lot of us are really following. Thank you so very much. Now, the second exercise I want us to do is I want you in one sentence, because before that, I want to establish here that another reason or another benefit of joining, being part of Gain Youth Summit, is that you get to network with young Africans from different parts of Africa, from all over Africa. So we have people from Zimbabwe, from Ghana, from South Africa, from different parts of Africa here. And it is going to be it's going to be a waste if you come here and you don't network with anybody. You don't connect with anybody. There are people doing amazing things in their community that you can collaborate and, you know, even do bigger things. So right now, I want you to drop in the chat, in one sentence, tell us what you do. Tell us what you're doing. Are you learning a skill? Tell us in the chat. Are you carrying out some community engagement activities in your community? Tell us in the chat. Are you a graphic designer? Are you an entrepreneur? Tell us what you do. Tell us the problem your business solves. I want to see that in the chat. I want to see that in the chat. Muhammad says he's an entrepreneur. That's beautiful. Tell us what you do. I want you to be detailed in just one sentence. You don't need to say so much. In just one sentence, tell us what you do. Okay, Salis says researcher in the field of education. Beautiful. I see a fashion designer in the chat. Good news, Henry. I'm a fashion designer and foodpreneur. Awesome. Ayodeji is into agriculture. Awesome. So you can begin to network. You can see that there are people in your field, in people who are doing things similar to what you're doing. Reach out to them, send them a message, and connect with them beyond this meeting. So Glory is a nurse. Awesome. Dorcas is currently learning a tech skill, which is data analysis. That's really beautiful. Michael, okay, is into Airbnb in Nigeria. That is really amazing. Wisdom is a web developer and a social media marketer. We have Miracle, who is a pastry chef. So we have really amazing young people in Africa doing amazing things for themselves. Yes, so we see, okay, Victoria is an entrepreneur and she just registered her company, which sells original shea butter. That's beautiful. Mahmoud breeds broiler chickens for a living. He's into poultry farming. That is really amazing. Well done. Prince Kali is an electrical engineer. That's beautiful. So we have very resourceful young Africans in the room. So I want you guys to connect with each other, network, and you know, this networking can yield great collaborations in future and yield yield bigger things. Thank you so very much for engaging. So there are so many of them in the chat, so many of us in the chat, really beautiful. Someone is into SDG, Justice is an SDG advocate and a United Nations volunteer. Amazing. Thank you so much. Now, I want to just remind you of the theme for this year's summit. We've said it before and I'll just say it again. The theme for Gain Youth Summit 2025 is Build Africa, Youth Leading the Transformation. And the essence of this whole discussion is for us to carve practical pathways for African youth to lead change. And right about now, we'll be entering into a very interesting panel session. It's not something you want to miss. The topic for this session is From Creative Skill to Global Power, Policy, Culture, and Youth-Driven Innovation. This sounds really interesting. So get your notepad. If you're tired, you can stand up, shake your legs, walk around, take a glass of water, sip your juice that you kept beside you. Just, get ready for this amazing session. I believe our panelists are in the room, as well as our moderator. So if you're ready for the next session, I want you to give me some fire emojis in the chat. Let me see your fire emojis in the chat. Are you ready for the next session? Are you ready for the next session? Once again, we are Grand Africa Initiative, a Pan-African non-governmental organization that is championing youth empowerment and sustainable development across Africa. That's us. So and we have a number of initiatives that we run. We have presently a program ongoing with Development Bank of Nigeria, which was shared earlier here on the summit. So you can check the chat bot. Our admin staff are going to post details for you to be part of that program that we are running with DBN. It's an entrepreneurship training program where you are also able to win grants for your business. So it's very important that you do that. So we are going on to the next session now. I'm seeing the fire emojis in the chat, but it's not enough. If I don't see enough, I will not call on the next panel, right? So give me some energy in the room. Are you ready? Are you ready? Tell me you're ready. Tell me you're ready. Tell me you're ready. So right about now, I'm going to be handing over to the moderator for the second panel session in the person of Dr. Ofora Chukwudumeje, who is going to be assisted by Ms. Precious Israel. So, Dr. Ofora, are you in the room? The floor is yours. You can take over now.
Yeah, good day, everyone. If you can hear me, give me some emoji.
We can hear you.
Can everyone hear me? Okay.
We can hear you, but you can speak a bit louder.
Okay. I want to use this opportunity to thank those, especially those coming from all the way from joining us from India, South Sudan, Ghana, Cameroon. I want to say a very big welcome. Welcome to this panel on transforming African creative skills into global influence through policy, culture, and youth-driven innovation. African creative skills economy is no longer just about expression. It's about job, global narratives, technology, and power. Today, we are exploring how creative becomes income, how culture meets policy, and how
Hello,
young
Mr.
Africans
Ofora.
can move.
We can't hear you clearly, please.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, better. And your video is not clear. I think it's because of the lights from your background.
But I try to close everywhere. So I think it's okay now. Don't know. I should make do of it. So, and how culture meets policy, and how young Africans can move from talent to global. I am pleased to moderate this conversation with 4 leaders in the next digital. He is a visionary architect who turns complex code into continental impact. As the founder of Nextic AI and CEO of Longnetics, one of Africa's fastest growing tech firms, he is the man behind Explore, one of the largest technology festivals on the continent. Please welcome in the person of Mr. Light Ihe Ishulu. Mr. Light, you are welcome to Gain You Summit 2025. I would also like to welcome a powerhouse whose influence stretches from local youth storm to global tension on trade and climate NGA. She is a tireless advocate for inclusive investment and youth empowerment from India Oluwakemi and Melody Ariola. Mrs. And you are welcome to Gain Youth Summit 2025. Also, we would like to welcome a man of a vision to secure Africa's economic future. He has personally impacted over 5,000 young people, decorating them with financial freedom. As an associate Sahara Impact Venture and the founder of Financial Fitness Clinic, he leads one of Africa's largest movements for youth financial literacy. Let's hear it from Mr. Frank Samuel Chigozero. Can I see some emoji? Please, can I see some emoji, some energy in the room as we welcome some of our guest speakers? And finally, a veteran movement with over 20 years of boots on the ground impact, a former national speaker of National Youth Assembly. He is famously led a capacitated over 1,200 displaced workers and has secured international scholarships for hundreds of Nigerian students. He is recipient of Sir Ahmadu Bello Platinum Leadership Award and the principal facilitator of Golden Launchpad Academy. Please welcome Right Honorable Lukman B. Majidadi. So welcome to Gain Youth Summit 2025. So this whole panel session, we won't see more than 45 minutes, with each panelist taking 6 minutes to tackle some of the questions based on their perspectives. So we'll start with in the person of Mr. Light. I'll start in the person of Mr. Light, CEO of Netflix AI.
Okay, good day, everyone. Good day, sir. Thank you so much for the warm invitation. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Light. You consistently bridge creativity and technology. Please, we want to know, how can technology help scale Africans' creativity globally while preserving cultural identity? Over to you, Mr. Light.
So thank you very much for that question. How technology can bridge creativity while still preserving culture. This is something that is really exciting to speak about. So I've been in the tech space for over a decade now, and I can strongly say that African technology has a very huge, solid impact when it comes to the depth of cultural integration, which is to say that most of the times when I'm engaged to communicate with young people, especially within Africa, I always like engaging them in conversations that has to do with integrating African framework into whatever they are building, because we have to build locally first before we can say we are building for the global landscape. Because I see a lot of African tech entrepreneurs building products that has to benefit the whites, But on a very solid scale, I think most of the products that we should be building in Africa should directly or indirectly influence or directly benefit our grandmoms, our mothers, and even down to the elderlies in the rural community. That is when we can actually say we are truly building for the betterment of Africa. So on a large scale, I think the African landscape, especially when it comes to cultural integration, has actually taken a very solid leap. What I mean by solid leap, I'm going to be referring to our music, down to our food, down to our languages, down to our general, tradition. Africa is basically taking some depth of dominance. When I mean dominance, we can see that Afrobeat is taking dominance across the whole world. We can also see that African fashion is taking dominance. If you check most of the top leading fashion industries across the world, like Vogue, what's the name of these other guys? Gucci and a lot of them, when they are doing their African, their cultural shows or maybe their fashion shows, you can see that depth of fashion, and of course you can see the African textural integration into all they are doing. So it means that Africa, on a very broad scale, our culture has definitely taken some depth of global dominance, even down to our creativity. Our creativity can be seen in every single aspect of what we do as a people, and of course what we do as young people within the whole space, which is the entire ecosystem, which cuts across the ecosystem, revolving around technology, revolving around culture, revolving around creativity, and the likes of them. So I strongly believe that technology is basically an enabler that is actually helping our voice to be heard across the entire universe. When I mean that technology is basically an enabler, I'm also referring to the fact where we can see that from the comfort of your home, you see that a lot of people are being heard. Most of our young people within Africa are basically being heard. When you hear that there is killing in so and so state, you see young people carrying their phones, and then the next thing you see that global communities are basically taking some level of support. And that's it to say that without technology, our culture might have not possibly spread across the entire world. Of course, technology is basically an enabler that is actually helping our culture to basically be felt. Even on the part of what's the name? Our creativity. We can see that creativity is cutting across multiple industries, including the Nollywood space. You can see that our films are basically getting a lot of global visibility. We can see that even games that are being produced in Nigeria here are basically played across different parts of the world, even down to animations, even down to design, even down to fashion, even down to content creation, and as well as the export economy as well. We are gaining so much dominance across different parts of the entire world. This is to tell you that Africa is not just building just for the now. We are building beyond just the future. We are building for the next generation, even the ones yet to be born. Even down to technology, on the part of what's the name? Fintech. Our fintech is basically taking a lot of global dominance. What I mean by global dominance, I mean that the fintech industry in Africa has taken so much leap, and of course, Nigeria is also one of those solid countries that have also taken so much dominance when it comes to the fintech space. And if you see people that are dominating these particular spaces, you see a lot of young people. Statistically, we have over 60% of young people within Nigeria, ranging from the age of slightly below the age of 30, I think between the age of 25, 30, and slightly below that. And you can see that they are doing a lot of really amazing work, even down to medicine. You see a lot of young people that are outside Nigeria doing excellently well. So it means that the depth of our influence and global dominance is not restricted. What I mean by it's not restricted, in the sense that our creativity has spread so far that global organizations, global empires, and as well as top leading organizations are basically feeling the impact of what we are doing. Most young people are basically working from the comfort of their homes and earning in thousands of dollars, and they are servicing global organizations across the US, across the European market, and as well as every other industry. So it means that we should basically put like a level of tap on our backs, or maybe we should carry ourselves with so much pride and dignity, knowing that our work is basically being felt across the entire world. And this has been one of the strongest ways that the value system of what we are building in Africa has been felt. And we can see that most of those are basically pushed through the young community, and of course still enabled by the elderly community.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Light. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Okay, I would also like to call in the section of Engineer Oluwakemi, the CEO of Vivacity Development.
Thank you,
Are
Mr.
you
Ofora.
present?
Thank you, Mr. Light. Please, we would love for our speakers to turn on their videos while they speak. Thank you so very much.
Okay.
Please, Mr. Ofora, you can go on.
Okay. Engineer Mrs. Oluwakemi, given your policy and trade experience, please, what policies are needed for developing and supporting Africa's creative economy, and how can youth advocate for better framework? Mrs. Oluwakemi, what are you?
Good day, everyone. I'm just going to do a little tech thing at the moment where I'm going to move over to another phone because it seems like this particular phone I'm using doesn't want my camera to come on. But in the meantime, I didn't get the question. So if I may humbly request a repeat of the question, that would be great. Yes, good day. I'm seeing good days in the comment section. Hiya. Sorry, let me get the question again and then I'll get back to everybody. Okay, brilliant.
All right. Okay, let me rephrase myself. I was like, what policies are missing or broken in supporting Africa's creative economy, and how can youth advocate for better frameworks? Did they get this now?
I believe I did. I think I'm in on the other phone now. Just a second.
Okay. Please, while we wait for our panelists, if you have any questions, just
myself. I've not been.
Okay. If you have any questions, kindly drop it in comment section so that by the end of the program, I can pick 2 or 3 questions and attend to them and send it to the panelists for them to answer. Please kindly drop any questions on the group chat. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yes, on. Mm-hmm.
If the host can unmute me on the other device,
we can hear you.
The host is not allowing participants to unmute themselves. Yes, you can hear me. Can you hear me very well? Brilliant. Okay, so I'm speaking to the host now. So please unmute my other phone. There we go. Awesome. Brilliant. I'm in now. Thank you so much. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Many apologies. I just had to shift over to the other phone so we could do the video. Good afternoon, everyone. It's amazing to be here this afternoon, speaking on a topic that, as anybody that knows me here knows, that this topic is very, very close to my heart. Because I was in government for a while, as we know, or some of us may know. And now do we say I'm in between the private sector space as well as the CSO space. So I kind of, I'm a tri-sector strategist at the moment. So I'm talking from all different sectors on what policies need to be in place at this point in time for this marriage of all these particular things that we're speaking about, which is obviously the young people, the culture, and how this particular space can be leveraged for our personal advantage. And when I'm talking our advantages, I'm talking about young people's advantages. We have to find a way to make sure that there's an ease of doing business in the space of the creative economy. We need to ensure that multiple taxation processes in this particular space do not begin to skyrocket. As the speaker before me has said, the creative economy and culture are doing, a great number of things for Nigerian young people. And why we say that is because we're at that point where we're not even beginning to, but we're leveraging the exportation of what we have. And what we have in way of our music, our fashion. You can see that like everybody's wearing Ankara globally right now. It's even I have started a ready-to-wear brand. Everybody's into that particular space right now. What's been happening with our movies. What's been happening with our music from day. I am somebody that literally nobody in my house speaks Yoruba. I'm the only person that speaks Yoruba in my house, and I speak it very well. And I actually learned how to speak Yoruba from watching Africa Magic movies. That's where I've picked up on idioms and sayings that, you know, it's in the Yoruba space. So African Magic has actually done an amazing thing in my life. I'm not, you know, advocating for them, but I'm just saying that we need to leverage some of these spaces, and we cannot allow the policies to get to the point that they start to choke us when we're talking about, you know, how much tax. I'm seeing that in Lagos State now they're beginning to sort of tax people for Instagram. You know, I can't say much because I don't know so much about the policy in itself, but you know, we can't allow ourselves to be in that space. And because policies at the moment are being more responsive, they're sort of like answering to what's happening without being in the space of creating that enabling environment. We want policies that can create that enabling environment, that can say, you know, as if you're exporting XYZ, you know, this is tax deductible, or those kind of things. You know, grants are available. Grants are available in a lot of these spaces, but, you know, speaks to certain organizations that, you know, make more grants available in these particular spaces in order for you to get, you know, tax reduction and things like that. And if we have those sort of policies, if we have those sort of policies that are working for us, then, you know, it's so much easier for us to leverage this particular space to the best of our ability. We're also talking about, you know, the young people that are doing so much remote work, and in that remote work, it's our culture that they're putting out there. There should be some sort of policy that works for them. So we need to actually come together with the creative industry. And I know that the custodians of the administration are in the creative economy, so that's our honorable minister and the essays in that particular space, have done a lot of work. But it's not just for the work to be on paper. It's time for us, the people in the particular space, to see how we can cascade some of this work down into our own lives. And remember, you know, one thing that's always said, or that I continue to echo, is that government is only in the business of creating an enabling environment. So as long as the government creates those policies to create the enabling environment, the onus is upon us to leverage that enabling environment for our own betterment, so to speak. So it's not for them to actually do the business for us, but it's for them to create that enabling environment for us to do business. So we're talking about lower taxes, if possible. We're talking about, you know, consolidating you know, payments that we need to pay to the government. We're talking about incentives for people in this particular space. And we're talking about us in this particular space being able to leverage what the government has provided for our own betterment. I hope that answers this particular question.
Perfectly, ma'am. Perfectly. Perfectly. Over to you, Mr. Frank. Mr. Frank, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. According to engineer Mrs. Melody Ariola, she said young people need to work. But the truth of the matter is most African youths really work, but they fail to earn sustainably. So my question is, what practical model do you think that youths should adopt in this present generation? Like, what are the models? What do you think that you should adopt?
Okay, thank you very much. So for anybody listening, I'm glad to be here. And I must say a big thank you to the organizers of this particular event. To the question around what practical models that you should imbibe with regards to, and this particular question is for those who work in the creative space, right? We are having more young people who are very ingenious with their brand, who are bringing up new ideas, new innovations. But one thing that they constantly struggle with is their capacity to earn sustainably. And I think there are two things behind this. Number one is the structure around how they make money and how they keep getting income. And then number two is now around how they work out their personal finance, right? And so I'm going to answer the question on these two levels. The first level, especially around structure of how you make money, right, is to say, okay, now that I'm into content creation, what is it that I own within this space? And I think a lot of us don't understand the concept of ownership. Everybody who you think who you know today that is wealthy, whether via content creation or any other career path, the one singular part that has guaranteed them consistent and sustainable income is ownership. So, what exactly do you own? A lot of the platforms that we use today, especially for content creation, is on the levels of other brands. So maybe Instagram, maybe TikTok, maybe Facebook, maybe whatever it is, right? But when you have built yourself to a certain level, one of the things that you should be thinking around is how do I have ownership for what I'm putting out there? And so you now have to be thinking around just beyond being creative. You now say, okay, fine. Is there a way I can have people subscribe to my content? Is there a way I can have people? Can I spread how I distribute my content on different channels? Where, oh, if you're doing a podcast, people should not only be able to watch your podcast, they should be able to listen to your podcast, but not just listen to your podcast, they should listen to it on different channels. But then you should also have um, um, income streams that are layered on top every bit of content that you push out. Because the truth is, these platforms can wake up one day and say they don't want you on their platform anymore, and they kick you out, and that's just it, right? But when you have built your content across different platforms, it gives you that ability to say, okay, fine, I own this content here, I own it here, I own it there. If for any reason anything happens to one, I can push all of my marketing and strategic business development efforts to the other platforms, right? The other one is, I've already mentioned it kind of, which is a direct to fan model. And this is still around how you make money, right? Where there's association, where there's fan clubs. Fan clubs are becoming a big thing where people have now launched even merchandise brands, even they've launched new businesses just because of fan club they've built. They've moved themselves from just having online presence to physical presence. Typical example is the I Said What I Said podcast that started off during COVID online, everybody knew. But now they're even making money from physical events that are happening, right? We are seeing even businesses who are into who are into who are pure content creators. Typical example, your Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast today has launched hundreds of different businesses just from creating content on YouTube alone. If YouTube decides to kick Mr. Beast out of YouTube today, Mr. Beast will not still go broke, right? And so you now have to, beyond this intellectual property that I have built and I own, which is mine, which is not only on this platform. So you need to now have this particular IP outside of social media. So if I build up this content, do I have it maybe in a drive? Do I have it somewhere else that I can stop that it is mine? Because if for any reason these guys take these things down, how exactly do you recoup? Or you're creating content and just putting it out there, and you know this is solid intellectual property that it took you time to build, right? The third thing still around making money is brand partnerships and productified services. And then finally, like I mentioned, digital distribution and data. Now, on the second level, which is around how you ensure that your income is sustainable, when you have made money from all of these things as a creator or all of these different methods, how do you sustain this money that has come in? And of course, that's where having great money management skills is important. And obviously, they don't teach us these things across the entire Africa in our schools today. Nobody teaches you how to manage, and multiply money, personal finance in detail. Nobody teaches you that, right? And so that's where these skills that you have built from, especially knowing how money works, now help. Because when you make the money from all of these different levels I mentioned, all of these different structures that you put in place, to ensure that in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, when you can no longer develop content just like you are doing today, that you are not broke and you're not going back to the village to go and farm. I'm not saying farming is a bad thing, but when that becomes the only way you can now survive, that's a bad thing. It means that you've literally wasted 10, 20, 30 years of a productive life, right? There are so many ways that you can save, invest. There's so much content out there. There are so many people myself included, that talk about these things day after day. And so learning harmony works is how you can protect yourself from any downside where for a season of your life you can't create any content, or you can't actually work or produce as you should, as a creator. And I think this is really, really important. And I hope this answers the question. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Frank, for throwing more light on how to work sustainably. Thank you very much. Right now,
Thank you very much, Mr. Ofora. Sorry to cut you. Thank you very much, Mr. Samuel. Please, would really appreciate if our speakers set up their virtual backgrounds, please. So if you check the chat, you see it was posted there a while ago. Just please set it up while we go on. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Okay. I will now proceed to Right Honorable Lukman. Based on your grassroots and policy work, in what way can creative economy realistically absorb millions of young people into meaningful employment? Over to you, sir.
Okay, good day everyone. Can I have a question again, please? Can you take the question again?
Okay, sir. So, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. I said, based on your grassroots and policy work, in what way can creative economy realistically absorb millions of young people into meaningful employment?
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Chuku. From my own perspective and from what we understand about the creative economy, which I believe is an even bigger industry than the what do we call it, than the digital economy, or let me say it, we can describe it as a sort of the debate about which is bigger, about the digital economy and the creative economy. For me, is just like the debate between the egg and the chicken, which comes first. Sorry, let me recognize the presence of other panelists, the moderator and the management volunteers, and my fellow speakers, as well as all participants in this GAIN Youth Summit 2025. It's a pleasure to be here for the first time attending the Grand Africa Initiative Youth Summit for the year 2025. So as for the question, how the creative economy can absorb the millions, let me say, thousands or hundreds of youths available out there who may want to venture into the creative economy, I believe we have come to a stage whereby I think we just, all of us, everybody, whoever has access to digital resources or has access to people outside the African continent, wherever you are, from West, Central, East Africa, every part of Africa, you need to take yourself as an ambassador of the African tradition, African culture, because the way they said, even typically they said, the way you dress, so you shall be addressed. And one of the principles called one of the major identities, or one of the major symbols of culture is our dress sense. So therefore, we interact with people from different other continents on the social media, on our work spaces online, and for those of us who are in diaspora. So I want to say, first of all, the first is we have to accept to be ambassadors of the African culture before we now come back to how this the creative industry or the creative sector can absorb most of our teeming youths who are out there looking for employment. We have areas, despite several initiatives by African governments to promote culture and tradition, we are still under that, it's like we are still giving out, despite the threats, the people, the propaganda about insecurity, which is very true, but the way it is blown out of proportion to say that some people outside the continent will be shown a picture that the whole of Africa is still antique, is still backward, there is no-go areas in Africa. But a lot of people are still coming to Africa during these festive periods like the Christmas, the end of year, to come and celebrate their holidays. Why? Because they feel there is a lot of, they come for sightseeing, they come to relax in our own parks here in Nigeria, in African countries such as South Africa, Namibia, and a lot of other places that we don't even as Africans think of venturing into. So therefore, what like I earlier stated, the creative industry is as big as digital economy. When the digital transformation started for most of Africa, and particularly in Nigeria, you will realize that most people did not give it a chance. We did not even believe that it was possible to have online televisions, online newspapers, online offices, e-meetings like this. But at the end of the day, we were forced by a combination of reality, time, and even the COVID-19 disaster to adopt all of these technologies, which in the past nobody contemplated using. So therefore, in the next future, we believe that the creative economy, we will have no option than also to venture into the creative industry. Let us be our own musicians, our own dressmakers. Let us be the ones who advocate for a lot of change. There are a lot of people now doing content creation and the likes, which of course is already a source of income. But if you compare the number of people who are specialists in promoting, using technology for cultural promotion, are very much minimal. You find one person managing several creatives, several artists, one person. Why? Because we have not fully harnessed the place of technology in our in the cultural industry. So therefore, I am of the view that one area that the creative industry has, or that is left still much untapped, is the area of technology and culture. Though I am aware there is an initiative, the Nigerian Initiative on Culture Tech or something like that by the Nigerian Ministry, and I believe there are maybe a lot of that. That is one. Then of course, promotion of African music. Music is a global language, but you find out that most of our musicians still export what people have in abundance, which is English music. We are not having much of our Afrobeat people doing a lot outside the continent. All of the Apala music, traditional music from the Yoruba side, the Koroso dance from the northern Nigeria, we have a lot of potential music that we can sell and give them and make them convert them into global brands. Furthermore, on the issue of on the opportunities that abound or potentials of the creative industry is the issue of still in the academia. I saw a professor analyzing the music of one rapper, and most of the comments were negative. People were calling him, look at this old man, he has no job, he's a professor, and the whole professor commenting on wasting time to write a paper on a rapper, when that rapper was using traditional language to send his message, his musical language message outside. So therefore, even in the academia, a lot of people don't even spend time, are even scared or feel that it's not an area. So I believe most of our young persons can also venture into theater, drama, and other to become analysts who can help develop key messages, prepare lyrics, and sell to musicians, or that's in terms of in that area. Also analyze and guide them, serve as critics, not just because we listen to music. No, let us have people whose work is to study, stay in our ivory tower, analyze our culture, our arts, artworks, and the likes. Then also we have cultural advocacy. Very few organizations are into cultural advocacy. Like we know, for several years the Nigerian government has been advocating for return of its artifacts, and sometimes they are giving those artifacts in piecemeal from different countries, Britain, Switzerland, and the likes. Our activists, when we come to form NGOs, CBOs, we should have a lot of youth who also venturing into that, and there is a lot of funding in that regards, which are not yet being tapped by Nigerians, by Africans generally. So therefore, we can venture into our own advocacy to ensure how we can return, so we can seek the return of artifacts to various parts of Africa to where they were looted by the colonialists. So these are just some of the areas I want to touch on for now. But what I want us to know that is we have to become ambassadors first. Then we now study carefully areas where they are not. So when we speak about creative, let us not just talk about the music, the arts, the calligraphy, the likes. No, let's go in. Let's talk about the technological aspect that has not been looked into. The management areas. Some people study business administration. Let's have people who specialize in creative industry management. You understand? In dance management, in fine arts management, calligraphy development, and the likes. So these are areas. My call is for us to, when we look very much strategically, carefully, and logically, we are going to find a lot of untapped areas in the creative industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Right Honorable Lukman Majidadi. Thank you very much for your wonderful speech and insight. Please, we would like to take general questions, if there is any, from the audience. 3 minutes for the questions, so that I'll pass it over to them. If there is none, I have a question. I think the question will go straight to Right Honorable Lukman Majidadi. Concerning the music, film, and fashion that you just stated, how are African creative industries? How has it changed music, film, and digital content, shaping the global perception of Africa?
Sorry. Okay, thank you. I think the African creative industry generally, because we have several aspects to it. I couldn't even speak about creative industry infrastructure, and by talking about, when we say creative industry infrastructure, I mean both digital and physical infrastructure. A lot of people need to develop a lot of platforms to promote culture online and physically. I know there are efforts to creating like creative cities, drama villages, and the likes, or film villages, and all of those stuff around the continent. But again, there has been a very, very minimal investment by the private sector in these areas, or there is a very minimal entry by our young persons in these areas. So we need to tap into that. Back to your question about how sorry, you sorry, I forgot the question again. Escaped my mind just as I was trying to lay a background.
Okay, let me ask it again. We need to observe it brief.
Hello?
How are Africa's creative industries, music, film, fashion, digital content, shaping global perception of the continent?
Okay, how African creative industry is forming global perception?
Yes, of Africa, of the continent.
Hello?
I can hear you.
How it is forming the global perception of about Africa, right?
Yes.
Good. Yes, of course, you know, there are, as I said, the creative industry speaks language that is universally understood, when in terms of the artworks, the music, drama, because there are we have what we call dance drama, there are voiceless demonstrations, We have music that you can speak in Yoruba language, Igbo, Ibibio, but a Frenchman will understand the message you are trying to pass. There are dance drama, there are a lot of, we have a Kenyan TikToker who rarely utters any word, but he passes a lot of message. You understand? So, but for me, I want to believe that these people, most of our cultural ambassadors, as we have it now, but of course we have a good number of them, but most of them are only repeating and amplifying inherited, inherited culture. There is no significant proportion of our people don't try to promote their local heritage. So therefore, most of the time, it is what maybe in the north, especially, people see from Indian music that they try to now promote and inculcate into their Hausa traditional music. If you go to Yoruba, the same thing, they try to copy more from Western music, Western industry, and the likes. We have like the Nok Terracotta art from the southern Kaduna is almost extinct now, because most of our people, our local people in the creative don't go into carving, don't go into such areas. So therefore, I think for me, I won't say they are doing a lot. We have a significant number doing good, but again, we need to amplify more of real original, because you can't own something that is not your own. You can't go and be doing maybe adopt reggae and say you are now a reggae ambassador, because it's not yours. You can't own it. So for you to own a system, for you to own anything, it has to be original. So therefore, African youth leading this change must come out with a lot of innovation, embed technology, and then promote our own African heritage. And that is the only thing, originality, that is the only thing that will actually make an impact and give Africa that view. But for now, most of our artists are not viewed as actual African ambassadors, but they are viewed as ambassadors of a global music, not global music, global drama, global films and the likes. Very few, including our movies. If you look at Nollywood, you find out that a lot of things that they are sending out is not it. I use most of the movies, you see them mocking the police officers, mocking even the traditional institutions. You understand? You find that if you are a traditionalist, you will not be happy the way that the shrines are being presented to the world as a place of destruction, as a place of maybe mayhem, a place of evil, when most of these shrines are places where people come to bond themselves, you understand, to promote unity, brotherhood. There are times for indoctrination of youth from a certain age to another age. So we need to look at the positives and promote it as it is, not just try to say because we want to get more followers, more likes and the likes, or gain acceptance when we go on shows or tours outside the continent. We then promote our culture from a negative perspective, or we erode it with a blend of more of outside culture. So this is it. So if we are doing it, we have to be original. Of course, we will have innovation, and part of that innovation is making a reasonable blend of maybe saying, okay, Yoruba plus maybe Togo, Igbo plus maybe a little bit Portuguese and the likes. So these are the kind of blends we should look at. Responsible blending of our culture, but not erosion of our cultural heritage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Honorable. In conclusion, thank you, our panelists, starting from Mr. Light, Engineer Mrs. Oluwakemi, Mr. Frank, and Right Honorable Lukman. I want to say a very big thank you with your grounded conversation. And thank you, our audience, for engaging. In this our panel session, we have to learn that African creativity is not a side story. It is economic power, cultural influence, and a pathway for youth inclusion. But talent alone is not enough. It requires policy that works, system that forms idea, technology that scales culture, and young people willing to think beyond borders. I want to say a very big thank you to everyone, and I do hope that everyone enjoyed the rest of the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Ofora. Thank you so much, our esteemed panelists. In fact, this session was really eye-opening, especially for me. Thank you very much. And I know that a lot of us here gained something. So with a very resounding round of applause, let's appreciate our panelists in the chat. Let's appreciate them in the chat. Everyone, say thank you to our panelists. They really did justice to the topic. They really did justice to the topic. Let me see you in the chat. Yeah. Let me read you in the chat. Appreciate them. Appreciate them. Appreciate them. Appreciate them. Yes, and then I want you to share with us what stood out for you the most in this panel session. For me, one thing stood out, a lot of things stood out for me, and I'm going to be reading them out. One is tech is an enabler, causing Africa's voice to be heard globally. So technology, social media, and what have you, these are enablers, and that helps African voice to be heard globally. And it's our prerogative to leverage social media, show up and put out content that, will push Africa forward. Another thing is that we should accept to be ambassadors of African culture. That also stood out for me. We should be proud of who we are, proud of what we have, proud of using what we have, right? That's the only way we can paint a good image of Africa to the outside world. Thank you very much once again to our panelists. I'm reading in the chat what stood out for you. What stood out for you? Share with us in the chat what stood out for you from this very insightful panel session. Okay, Samuel says, learning how money works to sustainably maintain profit and evolve as time goes by and not to become a relic. Awesome. That's beautiful. Thank you for that. Now, what reading from Samuel, learning, okay, yeah, we have read that. Mr. Lukman is saying we just need to look inwards, be original, innovative, and ambitious. Absolutely. Structure on how you make your money. Content creators, let us create content that doesn't discriminate and promote us as Africans. We should make content that doesn't discriminate and doesn't put Africa down, but create content that paints a beautiful picture, a good picture of Africa. Thank you so much once again, our panelists. Thank you so much, Mr. Ofora, for handling that panel so beautifully. So at this juncture, without wasting much time, I would love to hand over to my co-host, Miss Ella. Miss Ella, please, are you in the room?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, our panelists and our honorable host for the previous panel session. We sincerely appreciate, and our speakers too, for giving us a very insightful response and answers to the session. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have been gaining value so far. If you have, let me know. If you have, drop in the comment section. We are up with agenda. Okay, someone said, okay, Osaka said all the panelists were up with agenda. They gave clear input. Thanks for their precious contribution. I totally agree. They really gave us a very clear input. All right. Okay, I want to see more comments on what stood out for you during the sessions. More comments. So quickly, while you leave your comments, I just hope you're still typing. We would like to continue to our next session. I gained a lot. I'm a gainer. Yes, I love that line. Yes, we are gainers. So we gained a lot. Okay, we should make good use of technology. Ibetayo said we should please, can we have, okay. The contribution are genuine, practical and impactful to us. Thank you enormously. You are welcome, Pascal. Okay, that is beautiful. So we'll be quickly, we'll be moving on to our next session, which is the third panel session. Don't go anywhere. The session hasn't ended yet. I don't know where everyone is going to. Trust me, if you gain something from that other session, be rest assured that the next one is going to be more fireful. So stick around. So we'll be inviting our moderator for the next session in the person of Favor Ikeboako. She is the communication officer of GAIN, Grand Africa Initiative. So if you were here earlier, if you were early enough, you probably met her during the beginning part of it where she gave directives on how you can register for our current program with DBN. So if you've not registered for that, please, the comment section is still open to you. Ensure you've registered. Okay? Right now, we'll be calling on Favor Ikeboako to moderate the next panel session. If you're here, Favor, please, Miss Favor, can you take over the mic? Is Miss Favor with us here? While we wait for Miss Favor to join us, let's ensure to have read. If you're just joining, maybe you were not here earlier or you didn't get the communication regarding the registration, that's going to guarantee your access to get certificates of participation and as well be trained on diverse program we have already pre-recorded for you. So it's self-paced. You can learn at your pace. So click on this link that was posted in the comment section. Register. Miss Favor, if you're here, please let me know.
Okay, yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Thank you so much, Miss Ella, for the introduction. Okay, I'm Favor Choma Ikeboako, the communication officer at Grand Africa Initiative. So, thank you so much, everyone, who have stayed behind till now. It's an honor for us to have you here. So, if you're here, I want to get a reaction emoji from you people. Can you just, give us a reaction? Hello. Thank you. I want to receive more emojis. Thank you. Keep it coming. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. So thank you so much, Ella, and every other speaker that have spoken today. Thank you so much for that wonderful section. So today earlier I spoke about the DBN entrepreneurship training. So I want you to go back again if you've not registered yet. So please, it's for your own good. There are a lot of opportunities there. So today, I'll be leading the panel section, Future of Africa, the future of work and digital skills, youth driving economic transformation in Africa. So the purpose of this panel section is crossing across the job creation, digital skills, entrepreneurship, and then economic opportunities. This is an exciting panel section because it is a trending one. I believe this is one of the most trending topics across Africa, the whole nation. Digital economy, digital skills, and how it's affecting unemployment, how it's also helping out with employment. So it goes both ways. So you as a young person, you as an African youth, how are you tapping into today's opportunity? Because if you don't follow the trends, we are going to leave you for sure. So that is the essence of today's panel section. So so the agenda is to set the context of Africa's rising youth unemployment challenges alongside the unprecedented opportunity created by the digital economy. So we have in our panel list Mr. Ikenna Osezue. Please, are you here, sir? Hello, sir. Okay, we also have Mr. Nicholas Silbai. We also have Adimbola Daramura. And also we have Mr. Sarif Mohammed. And then the last but not the least is Mr. Peter Okay. These are high profile people, and then I'm going to do this panel section with them. Are you here with me, sirs? Hello? Please, do I have Mr. Ikenna Osezue here in our midst? Please, if you are, please, can you kindly unmute? Can you kindly unmute or indicate so that we can actually unmute you? Please, can you help us with that? Wait, please raise your hands, raise your hands. Just kindly raise your hands so that we can actually unmute you. Thank you. Peace and Ella, please, can you help us with that?
Hi, panelists. If you are around, please can you just indicate so? Okay,
Someone is
I've seen.
indicating. Yeah, please, can you just check out?
Okay.
Please, can you just click on your audio to check if you've been unmuted? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, okay, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for having.
The background is in the comment. Is in the comment section. Please do download and apply it to your background. Thank you so much. I am sending it again in case you missed out when we sent it before. Welcome, ma'am.
Welcome so much. So please we're expecting you to use the virtual background to help us in the pictures and videos. Thank you so much. So like I said, so today's section is discussing across the job opportunities, digital skills, entrepreneurship, and then the economic opportunities around this ecosystem. So please, I would like you to introduce yourself, Mrs. Adimbola. Thank you, Ma.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abimbola Daramola. I'm the Executive Director of Press and Development Foundation, acronym PDF Africa. Nice.
Ma, I think you are muted.
Oh, she said I should introduce myself, which I did. When I finished, that was when I muted myself up.
Okay. Okay,
yes.
I think.
Or am I supposed to do something else apart from introducing myself?
Sorry. No, sorry about that. I think
okay.
She had network glitches. So, Mr. Peter, are you on board? Can we meet you, sir?
Okay, can you hear me now? I'm trying to set up the background. So I just got it right.
Yes.
Can you? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So, quick introduction. I'm Peter Okay, the Profitable Man, the founder of Eduwet.ng. I'm a personal finance educator. I teach people how to make, manage, and multiply resources and opportunities. Thank you.
I think Favor is back. Favor, you can take over. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm here now. Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry for the interruption. Okay. Please, Mr. Sarif Mohammed, I don't know if you're around. Can you just introduce yourself? Hello? Hello, please, do we have Mr. Nicholas here in the room? Hello, can we make Mr. Nicholas? Please, I don't know if you're in the room. Okay, so while we wait for them, I'll just proceed with the questions. Then maybe when they will join us later. I think that's fine, right? Okay. Okay. So Mr. Nicholas. Mr. Okay, Peter. So please, I have a question for you. How is the future of work changing Africans' youth? And what opportunities does this shift create? Hello, Mr. Peter. Okay. Are you with us? Okay. So I think I'll have to go again with the question.
Yes, please come and give me the question.
Okay, that's fine. How is the future of work changing Africans' youth? And what opportunity does this shift create? Yeah, that's the question. Thank you.
Thank you for the question again. Thank you for having me here. I've been on this place since
Thank you so much.
Of this conference or summit, and it has really blessed me a lot. So I've been following all the conversation, and something that is very beneficial to Africa at large. So one thing is that we know that the future of work is changing for Africa youth. The future of work is actually changing from that office job. As we can see, this meeting is not physical. We are all online, it's virtual. So we are not in the office. We are not, we are not where we all gather together to make this event happen. So also similarly, when we look at the future of work and job in Africa, we can see that it is moving from office, and then it's moving from job title. In this generation that we are right now, you don't need to be a professor to position yourself for global opportunities. You don't need to be a doctor to position yourself for global opportunity. You can be in Rwanda, you can be in Kigali, you can be in Lagos, you can be in Accra, Ghana, for you to have access to the global opportunities. Before these times, one of the most challenges African youth are facing is this limitation to have access to the global market, to have access to the global audience, to the global clients. But with the advent of technology and the kind of world that we have today, there is no limitation to that. Again, you can be at the corner of your room and be communicating and be working for a client in USA, in Asia, in China, from any part of the world, from the comfort of your room. So for African youth, the shift has changed. Location is not a barrier. What is your barrier now is your mind and your mindset is not the barriers, not the location. We have access now. There are opportunities now exist in remote work. And if you look at the effect of COVID-19 is that many of the work we do today, many organizations, many companies are looking for a way to reduce the on-site of their workers. They're trying to make things remotely. They want you to stay at your home as long as you can solve the problem. You can stay back at home by using your laptop, your phone to provide solution or to make sure you are working perfectly from home. So to the African youth, the market is no longer reward effort alone. It rewards skill, your skill, and then the clarity and how you can maximize the internet age, how you can maximize it. So thank you. Thank you, Fivo.
Thank you so much for that wonderful section. So today we've learned something, that is distance is no longer a barrier. You don't necessarily need to be in a particular physical location for us to perform or for us to work. So that is one of the impacts of the digital skill, digital evolution across Africa. So as a young person, you don't necessarily need to be, you cannot say, I don't have an office before I can start my own business. there are no excuses anymore because there is advance in digital equipment. Thank you so much for that, sir. Mr. Please, I want us to give him a reaction, a thumbs up if you're interested in this class and you're gaining a lot from his section. So, Ma, the next question comes to you, Ma, Mrs. Adimbola, Ma. So, Ma, your question, Ma, which digital skills should African youth prioritize now to remain relevant in 2030? What are the digital skills that Africans should prioritize to remain relevant in 2030? Over to you, Ma.
Thank you very much. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, Ma, we
right?
can hear you clearly.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
For the digital skills, we need to start for the young people, you start with the basic. I hope you can hear me. I'm not muted. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ma, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, Ma.
Good. Okay,
Yes.
I didn't hear anybody give any sign. I don't want to continue talking. Okay, so to start with, basic
Please,
digital
can you give her a thumbs up? If you
important.
can hear her, please, can you give her a thumbs up? Yeah, a reaction emoji. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. So for a start, the skill that matters to start with, then you need to start with the basic digital literacy, using a device, using your phone, online safety, protective tools. Then you need to, up your game by having digital skills, digital analysis skill, basic AI training, cloud computing, and cybersecurity. Those are very important. I will go with the statistics that says African internet penetration is 38%, but the rural access is only 23%. Now, it's just not the youth that are within the cities alone that needs to be part of this. We also need those in the rural area to also be part of it, because that's when it can make any sense. We have a lot of people in the young people in the rural areas, and we also have our mobile phones, which speak to a training that we have coming up. Farmers, how to actually use their mobile phones to generate income, to generate wealth as well. So those skills are very important. The basic skill of knowing how to use your phone, how to use Excel, how to use, for most youth, they're on the phone and just watching videos. But they can also learn how to create videos and edit. But to start with, the basic skills you need is digital literacy. You need to build on, because that's what's everywhere nowadays. You need to learn how to code, basic coding, and then you build from that. You play games, and those games come from being able to code as well. My nieces 2-3 years ago, or even 5 years ago, their father paid for them to code, and there are actually some free programs online. So for some of you, we cannot say that money is a limiting factor. You have access to free trainings that you can train on. I had a young person come to my office while she was serving. She needed to serve in my office, and I told her that, okay, fine. So you'll be generating some basic Word document. She didn't know how to use it. I could not imagine that in this day and age, a youth corper does not know how to generate a document on the system. So those basic things, how to use a Word document, how to use an Excel document, those are very important. Most of the roles that are coming up now are more of AI related roles, and these are expected to grow by 40% in 2030. Therefore, we need to start training our youth on basic training on digital literacy, and then up again from there to greater ones. Now, the priority for skills, the first tier is, like I said, basic digital literacy, online safety, productivity tools. And then the second level will be data analysis, AI, that's artificial intelligence, basic clouding and computing security, cyber security. and also sector-specific trainings. We had the people that talked about fashion. There are trainings you can do as a fashion designer. Just because you're sewing does not mean you cannot do any. You actually have some tools that you can use to design your clothes. So those are very important. We have agri-data, we have health information. There's just a lot. So, but you need to build on it. You start from the basic and then you build on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Adimbola. Thank you so much for that wonderful section. Honestly, that was really inciting because honestly, that is the trending, like I said. Digital skills has already evolved, and somehow I can even say that it's still really taking over the digital economy and the economy at large, because so many young persons graduate without those skills, and they expect to be placed in high-profile offices, organizations, but these organizations are actually looking for these digital skills. Not just people are no longer waiting for certificates alone. People are looking for people that have these digital skills. And actually, that leads us to our next question, which is, are traditional degrees still valuable? Or are these digital skills becoming more important? How should young persons balance both? Mr. Ikenna Oseize, please, I don't know if you can actually help us with that question. Thank you. Should I go again?
So if I got you correctly, you said digital
Thank you.
skills, the degrees that people take, is it still valuable in this
Sir, please, can you increase your voice a little?
Okay.
Thank
Is it better now?
Yes, a little bit better. Yeah.
Yeah, so if I got your question right, you're asking whether degrees are still relevant today, right? Or is it just skills?
Yes. Are traditional degrees still valuable?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the direct answer to that is yes, they are, right? For the foundational knowledge. However, they may not be as critical as it used to be back in the days, right? And you need to realize that. Yeah. So why would I say that? So let's take, for instance, right, in this new age of AI and tech and the way the ecosystem is going, right, there are a lot of skills that back then, if I wanted to start a business, I might need a lawyer immediately, to help me draft some agreements, to help me, with my compliance requirements, just guide what I want to do going forward, right? Right now, I may not need a lawyer immediately, right? I can get some of that information with working with any of the AI tools out there, and it will help me to a certain level, right? However, what will now differentiate me from when I'm just starting and when I actually want to scale and become global or build a system that is going to last the test of time, right? I would now need somebody that is an actual lawyer to come in and sort of review what it is that even the AI has helped me with and the like. So would the traditional degrees still be relevant? 100%, right? I would still rather trust a doctor today than even just trust something that I see online, right? Because they understand the context, they have the experience, right? So it would always be relevant. However, we need to also realize that a lot is changing in the world right now, especially with respect to these traditional degrees. So what I'll just say, or what I'll say to guide anybody is that if you're a specialist, if you're looking at something that you're going to specialize in a particular industry, specifically like a doctor or a lawyer, like literally, right, you will still need a traditional degree. It would really help. It sets you apart, you learn the foundations and the like. If you're going towards more on the technical side, so now let's say you're more interested in software development, for example, you no longer need to be a computer scientist to be the best engineer out there. I have so many associates, friends, and they didn't come from technical backgrounds, but with self-learning and everything, they were basically able to become part of the leaders in the industry, right? So that is just pretty much it. So the direct answer is that, yes, it's still going to be relevant, right, for specialized sectors, right? But if it's on the technical side and the like, what I'll say is pursue your dream. You can learn it online. You can learn the tech online. So yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful. Yeah, so from what we got from your what you said, it means that our traditional certificates is still much valued, but the digital skills help us to like complement it. So digital skills doesn't necessarily, reduces the value, it adds to it to make us more relevant and more valuable. So I believe that this my chatbot should be on fire. Hello, everyone. I hope you're giving us your thumbs up, your questions. Please start dropping your question, your comments on the section so that we can actually attend to them. If you have those questions that you've been, meaning to ask someone about the digital skills, now is the time. This is your opportunity to ask those questions, especially when it comes across like you want to know about the cybersecurity, what it's all about. You want to know about how is AI really advancing. This is your time to ask those questions that have been perturbing you. So I would like us to continue. So sir, there is a question that you have not answered yet. So that question is, how should young persons balance both? So if we all agree that digital skills is still important alongside the traditional skills, how do we complement it so as we ensure that there is a balance in the system? Because some persons are now asking, should I now focus on digital skills or should I just go ahead and just do my traditional studies? So how do we balance it to ensure that we don't start lacking at any side? Thank you. Mr. Ikina,
Oh, yeah,
please
I'm
can you
here. Can
help
you
us
hear
with
me?
the question? Yes.
Yeah. All right. So how do you balance both? Right.
Yes.
What I'll say is that when you want to start with the skills. Why? Because that's what you get paid for, right? You have a skill, people are paying for your skill, they're not paying for your knowledge, right? Nobody really cares that you went to school for 30 years. What they care about is that thing they wanted to solve, you can do it, right? Start with the skill sets. As you build on the skill, then you can now also get the foundational knowledge for you to go deeper, right? So that is pretty much how you now balance it. So always start with the skill set because that's what's going to make you money at the end of the day, right? And then as you build that experience, you should now do the traditional means, and basically now get the needed knowledge. So that is just it.
Okay. So Mr. Okipita, I have a question for you. Yeah, as an industrialist and someone who is in the system, what realistic pathways exist for African youth to gain globally while earning locally? So which measures, how do we earn? So after learning these skills, everybody's canvassing, we should go and learn skills, we should go and learn skills. How do we earn globally? Because that's a myth. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me start from this angle.
Okay.
I technically, I don't know how to write code. I don't know how to create any application. I'm not a computer science student. I studied history when I was in school. And we may have many participants here asking that, oh, maybe I study maybe English language, I study philosophy, I study maybe art and humanities, something that is not, that you cannot really, maybe you have a technical skill or something you can build. Let me tell you something. From where you are, you can earn money. There is nowhere you are in Africa, as long as you have your phone, that your small phone that you used to post on Facebook, you used to gossip on Twitter, you can use that thing to make money. Let me tell you, when I was in 200 level, I made my first millionaire when I was in 200 level. And how did I do that? I write books. I used to write then. I used to write books then for ghost people. I did ghost writing then. And I even wrote some personal books on Amazons. You can do that from your country. You can, if you have an idea, maybe you have an idea, there is something inside of you that you want to put out to the world. You have information and you can put that information in a well-packaged manner, in a well-packaged, presentable that you can give it out to the world. Maybe you know how to write. If you know how to write or you have passion for writing, you can start writing on all these platforms, maybe your social media, your Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. You can start to write. There are many people that are making millions of money from writing right now. They are making it. Another thing is content writing. It's one thing to build something and it is for us to educate people about that particular product. Yes, you can build an app, but that building an app is that one is another step. But you need to market it to the world.
And if you have interest in marketing, that is what you can contribute. When we say tech is not just, the technical part of everything. Is tech is not just all about technical. There are fundamentals of technology. I can come in as a marketer. I can come in as an educator. If you build your app, you still need people to use it. And there is a way I can communicate to people. There is a way I can educate people to use your products. So you can come in as a content writer. You can come in as an educator. Okay, this particular app, you can educate people. You can market the product to people. And without building anything, you can even make money than the builder. Marketers make more money than the people that even owns the products, as long as they can sell very well. So another thing is that there's something we call you have a skill, you have a gift, and there is a way you can monetize your gift. We have YouTube. YouTube is there. Let me tell you, if you know how to sew a clothes, you can put yourself there on YouTube to be teaching others. If you know how to build anything simple, even if you don't know how to build anything, if you know how to educate people, let me tell you, the real money is in education. Because there is this problem we are facing in Africa, that is knowledge gap. Knowledge gap. People are not well informed, and if you are not informed, you will be deformed. Because information will actually give you flies, give you edges over others. So we need information, and many regions in Africa, they don't really have access to this information, and you can fill the gap. You can come in to say, okay, do you know about this? Do you know about this? Do you know how to do this? How to do this? How to do this? If you start doing that on your social media, you will see that people will value you so much, because there is a problem you are solving. There is a problem you are solving. You are solving the problem of knowledge. If you are a student, or maybe you are a medical student, you don't need to finish your degrees before you can start contributing valuable things to the society. Mr. Ikena was saying the other time that certificate is good. But in this generation, in this era that we have, your skill matter. What you can do matter is more important than your certificate. What you can do, the problem you can solve, the value you can bring to the table is more valuable than your certificate. Okay, you are a medical student, or I'm rounding up right now. You are a medical student, or you are a pharmacist. Do you know there are many problems in the society that you can solve? Maybe you can tell us that, okay, if you have headache, this is what to do. If you have stomach pain, this is what to do. This is not what to do. Oh, if you have this is what to do. Do you know about this? So you can use that the knowledge that you have to make more money. You can be a video editing. You can do data. We are in the world of data right now, artificial intelligence. Do you know how to use AI? You can teach people how to use AI. And by doing that, you can even create course about it. You can write book about it. I have a book that I wrote recently, The Nigerian Investor. And we have sold over 1,000 copies, because there is a problem of investment that people are financially illiterate. 70% of Nigerian youth are financially illiterate. And I wrote a book to fill that gap. And it is bringing money in. When I'm sleeping, people are buying the book. And as I'm making money, I'm also making impact. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, Mr. Peter, for that wonderful talk. Yeah, we learned a lot, especially with the fact that you studied history and then you only transitioned into tech and you're making your money. You're a millionaire at 100 level. That was really inspiring for most of us here. So please, I actually told us to comment on the section box, give us thumbs up, tell us how you feel about the call, the topic. If there are questions that you feel like you want to ask, please go ahead and ask them. We are going to receive your questions on the chat box, please. Thank you. We want here to be very engaging as much as possible. So thank you so much, sir. In addition to what you've said so far, but for what I picked from what you said, is you mustn't necessarily be a techie. You mustn't be in that space of coding. You can go into the marketing, education, and so many. All of us are there to make money at the end of the day, and to create relevance, and to also to make impacts in their society and economy. That is the essence of being there. So you mustn't necessarily be that coder for you to be a techie. So, and then there are platforms you can actually make this money from. You can check out your LinkedIn jobs. You can go to Fiverr. You can go to Upwork. You can go to, there are different other platforms where you can make money from tech. Technology is not just a trend. It's not just a trend. This is reality. it has come to stay. So if you are not yet in tech, this is an avenue for you to, for you to get onboarded into the system, because if you're not there, you'll be left out at the end of the day, and that will be good for you. So moving over to the next question, we're going to be very swift as possible because of the want some time. The next question is, how do we ensure young people in rural or underdeveloped communities are not left out of the digital economy? Over to you, sir, Mr. Ikenna.
Okay, right. So how do you make sure that people in rural areas are not left out of the digital economy, right? My direct answer is going to be the fact that it's up to you, right? Now, why do I say this? Wherever you are today, right, it's your personal responsibility to be able to pick one person, right, at least that you know that you can improve, you can grow their life. And it's not about the finances, to be very honest. It's just about your own choice, your own discipline, and your own dedication. Let me give you a practical example. A couple of years ago, when I was still in the product design side of things, right, I started a free school for people, specifically students, who want to pick up a tech career, right? I want to learn about product design the Nigerian way, like what really works out here, not what you would see online, but what you see in the streets, because it's a huge difference, right? And then from doing that, we now start segmenting the kind of people that we're talking to not even be those who already have a background or an experience. No, we don't want that. We want that guy on the streets that previously would not even have ever thought of the chance to start a design career, right? Or to start designing software. But instead, we'll probably have ended up doing whatever else in life. And that was how we started, and it started growing. And it was free at no cost, right? And what's there with just me eventually grew to a couple of my friends in the industry. And before we knew what was going on, we had built a network where people that graduate from our own places will recommend you, and our network is tight, right? So if someone is very good, just like, oh, hey, who is hiring? Right, you're hiring over here. Yeah, I have guys for you, and we send you across, right? I get gigs coming almost every single day of my life. When it comes in, I stopped handling them. I give it to my students. There's this open, this is the pay, this, and you bid for it. And before you know what's going on, you'll see how you have taken a group of people that previously would not have had that access, right? And you have given them the opportunity to basically get into the tech space. So that's why I'm saying that it is 100% your responsibility, right? If you know better and you know something, then share with somebody else. Is that phenomena that the sky is literally big enough for everybody? It is 100%, right? 100%. And the best thing about the sky being big is that you don't even need to be at a certain level. You don't need to think you're an expert, because the best way to learn is by teaching somebody else. So you can start with one person. Just because you don't want to fall your hands specifically, right? Then it will force you to learn more in that space so that you can now teach someone else in that space, right? And when you teach somebody else in that space, they go ahead, they teach somebody else. And before you know, from just one person's movement, an entire revolution can happen, right? So that is how basically I'm going to make sure that you don't keep people in the rural sites segmented from the digital transformation that is going on. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Ikenna, for that talk. Yeah, so that was really exciting. So we've learned that we should all go out there and teach at least one person. We are going to create more value, and that's one of the ways to create impact. That way, that person from the local area, that rural area, have equal opportunities for these digital skills. If not, they'll be left behind. In addition to that wonderful talk, I also want to add there are a lot of government is now stepping in, especially here in Nigeria, and then some other African countries. So government is really trying in the aspect of digital skills. Let me talk about 1 million Anambra digital tribe happening in Anambra State here in Nigeria. So that project or that program is basically for rural area. Can you believe that all the whole 21 local governments in Anambra State have digital access, including the primary schools, the secondary schools, and also the university. So that way, I think that's the fastest way to grow digital skills and getting it all across the nation board, because that way that person in that local area has equal access to opportunity to these digital skills. And we all, because education is that particular thing that that it appreciates us with the rich people, bourgeoisies, and the rest of them who are leading in the society. It is the education that you have. So these digital skills, giving them opportunity, and all of these are actually free. So now, if you are claiming that you don't have access to digital skills, you look out for organizations that held this free training. If you don't know any, and welcome to 1 Million Anambra Digital Tribe, just go and browse about it. We also have in Nigeria, we also have 3MTT program, all for free, can register all for free. So these are the ways that the government has already stepped in to help emancipate this digital illiteracy happening across the country. So I believe that also other African countries, other African governments are also doing something about it, and then it is also with time, the next 5 years, I believe that everyone, at least most people, are going to have digital skills. Thank you so much, Mr. Ekina, for that. Then, Mrs. Adimbola Ma, I have a question for you. What is one digital skills or action every young person should commit to having or to learning or improving in the next 6 months? So us now as young Africans who are striving to succeed and also to to glow in that digital space, what is that particular skills, that particular digital skills that is going to help us to advance our career? Thank you.
Okay, that's it. I would say that is a trick question.
Yes,
because you
ma'am.
have people in different fields. One single thing cannot help everybody. So I saw a question that somebody had put in the chat. So let me just quickly talk about that. So the skills we can learn, depending on what your foundation is or the direction that you want to go to. I think that's more the question than to pick a particular skill. Because like I said when I spoke before, that we just need to first of all start with the basics. That's the first thing you need to learn. You have digital freelancing skills like social media management, not just coding, like content creation, copywriting, graphic design, video editing. You have the basic web design. I'm just listing this. Anybody can pick which is the most important for them. Search engine optimization, digital marketing, you have that as well. Virtual assistants. You have drop shipping and online. Then you have the free trade trade business, the basics of it, how to operate cross-border business. You can actually learn all of that and do that. You don't really have to have an office to operate that. Mobile photography business. Free is on your phone. You can do podcasting, you can do voiceover, media app testing. So these are a whole lot of things. I would suggest that they simply go online, type what their line is, and ask for the best basics that fit what they want to learn, so that they just don't learn everything and become a master of none. Because when you stretch yourself through things, learning this, learning that, you don't really become an expert in something. So I believe that they can go online. We have a lot of search engines. Just type it in and ask for the basics and ask for a path that you should take. So that when you finish this at your basic, tell you the next one, and then you can become an expert in it. And like you rightly said, there are so many free trainings that are out there in Nigeria, and even you have Coursera, you have Udemy, you have so many free training. Some, even if they ask you to pay, they just ask you to pay for a very small amount. But the thing is, you've learned that skill. And what you need to do to maintain it is to practice and then build your portfolio. Because when you want to tell somebody you can do something, they need to see an example. And I would suggest with that, you can actually volunteer. Volunteer in a place where they can coach you. Volunteer with someone that can actually put you through, so that you can say you were part of the production of this. You were part of this. That will help you to build a portfolio, because I assure you, nobody wants to give anything to someone that does not have a bit of experience. You know, you want a young person, but you want somebody that has 20 years experience. How can a young person have 20 years experience? Doesn't make sense. So when you volunteer, you learn from that. You have you follow up with people that are in that field. You can talk to them. They can help you check your work. You know, you work with them on some project that they have. You can build your skills through that. So I would say that your one skill has to do with your line of your profession. It's not the most basic is learning how to use basic digital training, Word document, Excel, PowerPoint for presentation and things like that. But you know, you have to go further with that to be relevant in the scheme of system. Thank you.
Wow, that was mind-blowing. That was mind-blowing. It's good to have you leading in this panel section. Thank you so much, Mark, for coming. Thank you for gracing us on because we have to strong men who are leaders in the industry, and for us to see that a woman is here with us. So even if you're a woman, you shouldn't even think of a woman. This digital skills is not for a woman. Coding is not for a woman. There is no room for that here. We all believe in youth empowerment, women leadership, women empowerment, and every single thing. Thank you so much, Mrs. Adimbola, for that talk. We really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for that insights. So we've heard it, right? We've all heard it. We've gained knowledge. So you have to start from somewhere, whether it is virtual assistants, coding, digital marketing, content creation, virtual assist, whatever it is that you find passion with. But the most important thing is that you go where your heart belongs. Make sure that you don't just go and learn every single skill there, but you just look for the one that suits your vision, the one that you are passionate about, something that you know that you can deliver and, you know, stand over time. That is the most important thing. Then once you're done with that, getting that particular skill, getting that interest, knowing exactly what you want and where you are going to, look for a community and then join. Start from somewhere. If it's your friend that knows it, you know, make the person your friend and then add pressure so that person is going to teach you. If you don't have money to, you know, go for digital skills training in, you know, those places where you're gonna get those, there are a lot of technology companies who are teaching these digital skills. So if you don't have money to pay for it, you can also look for the free ones. Many NGOs like ourselves periodically host this digital skills training, so from time to time. So maybe you can just, you know, search out for some of them. Then once you've learned and gained that knowledge, the next thing is either to volunteer or look for somewhere you can practice. That is what we've said in some way. Look for where to practice, because most job seekers are looking for people with experience. Nobody really wants to employ someone without experience, like no experience at all. Even if you've just a few months, 1 month, the most important thing is that you have experience. That is the key summary of what we've said. Digital skills can never be overemphasized. That is the most important thing. What you need to do is to key into what we're doing, learn AI. AI is evolving, AI is growing, AI is trending. That is not just a trend, that is reality. Once you're in this 21st century, AI is here to stay. So make sure that you go and learn all those digital skills that are very important for your growth and career. So we hope that you enjoyed this panel section, and then you're not just going to leave it here, but to make sure that you key into it and then make a positive change for your life. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, our panel. Thank you so much, Mr. Ikenna, Mr. Okechukwu, Mr. Adimbola. Thank you so much for coming. Please, can you give them a thumbs up, a reaction, because they did so well. These are highly profile people coming.